Okay, so let's just dive right in. I mean, you feel it too, right? The world is just getting more and more complex. Every single day, it feels like we're hit with these massive, new ideas that are just really tough to get a handle on.
I mean, take something like generative epistemologies. Yeah, I know. It's this idea that knowledge isn't some static thing you just, collect like stamps. It's something we're constantly making together through how we interact. And then boom, you get hit with cognitive ecology. The idea here is that your brain isn't just locked up in your skull. Nope. It's in this constant feedback loop with your phone, with the city you live in, with your entire environment.
And just when you think you've got it, there's distributed intelligence. This is the idea that smarts aren't just in one single brain. No, they're spread out across a whole network. Think of a swarm of bees or a team of brilliant scientists all working together. It is a lot to take in.
So yeah, it's completely understandable to feel a bit overwhelmed. I mean, really, how can any of us possibly make sense of all this stuff? Is there, I don't know, a simple, clear toolkit we can grab to start untangling all this complexity?
Well, the good news is there is, and that's our roadmap for today. First, we'll look at our complex new world. Then we'll find a surprising blueprint in language. After that, we'll apply this new lens to reality. And finally, we'll see why all this clarity, why it really, really matters.
All right, let's kick things off with part one, our complex new world. You know, the biggest challenge with new frontiers is that they just don't come with a map. I mean, let's take a topic that everyone's talking about right now, AI. It's not one simple thing, is it? Not at all.
Think of AI kind of like an iceberg. What we all see, on the surface, are the basic operational things it can do, answering questions, generating some text. But that's just the tip. The real complexity, the huge part of the iceberg, is underneath. It's all those deep, almost human-like cognitive abilities that we're trying to build. And it's that hidden depth that makes these new frontiers so incredibly tough to navigate.
So, how in the world do we start to understand that hidden depth? Well, that brings us to our second section, the blue point of language. And believe it or not, the solution might be hiding in plain sight, in the very tool we use to talk about all this stuff in the first place.
Okay, here it is. This is the core idea for this entire explainer. You see, linguists, they don't get freaked out by the complexity of language. Why? Because they have a systematic, step-by-step way to break it all down. So what if, and this is the big what if we could just borrow their toolkit and use it to understand, well, pretty much anything?
And this is that toolkit. It's this beautifully simple yet powerful plan. It breaks down any analysis into 4 key parts. You've got morphology, which looks at the smallest little pieces, then syntax, which is all about how those pieces are arranged, semantics looks at what it all means, and finally, pragmatics asks how it's actually used out there in the real world.
And right here, this is the aha moment. It's brilliant. On the left, you see how this works for language, right? Word parts, sentence rules, meaning, context. Simple enough. But now look at the right. We can use that exact same logic for any complex system. We find its core components, its morphology. We figure out its rules of arrangement, its syntax. We understand its internal meaning, its semantics, and we see its real-world function, its pragmatics. It's like a universal grammar for understanding reality itself. Okay, theory is great, but let's actually put this powerful new lens to work. In this next section, we're going to grab one of those big, scary concepts from the beginning and see if our new toolkit can make it, well, crystal clear.
Remember this one? Distributed intelligence. A minute ago, it might have sounded a bit fuzzy, a little abstract. But now, we're not just going to read the definition. Oh no, we are going to deconstruct it.
So let's apply our 4 steps. Ready? First up, morphology. What are the smallest meaningful units here? Well, in this system, it's things like individual agents or maybe little packets of data. Okay, step 2, syntax. What are the rules for how they connect? That's going to be the communication protocols, how they talk to each other. Step 3, semantics. What does it all mean? The meaning here is the collective goal, right? The final output of the whole system. And finally, pragmatics. How does it function in context? That's really just asking how this system of intelligence actually works in its environment. And just like that, see? It's not so abstract anymore. It's a system. It has parts, rules, a purpose, and a function. We can grasp it.
All right, let's move on to our final and maybe most important section, why clear language matters. Because look, Having a tool for clarity is fantastic, but the stakes here are actually way higher than just understanding a few tricky concepts. This is about moving from simple clarity all the way to justice.
When we can't get a clear grip on the systems that run our world, we face some really serious challenges. I mean, look at this. We run into that cognitive overload, right? We see computational limits that can lead to things like algorithmic bias. We have massive ethical questions around privacy, and we get systemic instability from models we just can't predict. The point is, clarity isn't just a nice to have, it's an absolute necessity.
And this is where that simple toolkit becomes something much more profound. When complex systems are explained with language that's designed to be confusing, it becomes a form of gatekeeping, right? It keeps people out. The whole idea of linguistic justice challenges that head-on. It argues that clear communication is a basic human right. It says that forcing one dominant, complex way of explaining the world can actually silence other, equally valid forms of knowledge. It's really about making sure everyone has a seat at the table of understanding.
And that brings us to this incredibly powerful idea. When we demand clarity, when we use language not to obscure, but to deconstruct complexity and make it available for everyone, we're not just learning. We are, in a very real way, engaging in an act of resistance, an act of revolution even. We're fighting to make the world more equitable and understandable for all of us.
So I'll leave you with this question to carry with you. Think about it. Whether it's the politics in your town, the technology that's always in your pocket, or even the dynamics at your job, what complex system in your world could you understand a whole lot better if you just applied a grammatical lens? If you looked for its parts, its rules, its meaning, and its real-world function?